Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Stan. Welcome back to my channel. Today I bring you an exciting interview in a series of interviews I'm doing this holiday season. It seems like the series will continue even in the new year. Today's interview is with no other than one of the most popular motovloggers on YouTube. His name is Downshift83. And before we start the interview, I just want to crowdsource a little bit. What I'd like to know is what you guys want to ask, or what you guys want me to ask during these interviews. It seems like I keep asking the same old questions over and over again, and I think it will be more interesting for all of us if I use your questions. With one caveat, I'm not going to be asking any personal questions whatsoever. So feel free to post questions you want me to ask in the comment section below, and I will include them in the interviews going forward. Please welcome Downshift83, everyone. And thanks for agreeing to do this interview with me. Like I said earlier, there's lots of snow outside. It's pretty, pretty shitty weather. Well, it depends on what you like. I don't mind snow, but it's kind of horrible walking through the garage, looking at my bike, and then like realizing you're not going to ride for another 2 months or 3 months at least.
It definitely sucks. I had to deal with that up in Washington too, so I had to make a move to some better weather.
Yeah, well, it's like usual. Usually in Toronto, or at least 4 months you don't ride. I usually start in about April. Last year we got a few weeks in April, and then it kind of got cold again and it snowed again. It's like you're out of it for about a month, and then you're back on track afterwards. So it's not so bad.
Good shit. Gives you enough time to start putting on modifications to the bike.
That's actually true. Like if you have a project, you can actually work on it during winter. But you know what? You really need like a heated garage for that, because otherwise you're gonna freeze your balls off just trying to do that in garage. That's pretty crazy. So, well, let me tell you something first of all. I've started watching. Well, what got me into motorcycles? I'll just give you like a quick minute intro. How I know you, and then I'll ask you a few questions, I guess. What got me into motovlogging and motorcycles in general, well, partially it's my brother, but I then started watching videos on YouTube because I was interested in like how to ride a bike, and a lot of new riders usually do that, and they stumble upon a lot of us, myself including, stumble upon your channel a lot. There's Downshift83 who was there from God knows how long. I started watching him, but what got me into motovlogs actually were your videos, and I found them quite entertaining. And like I told you, I think there was one video that's still stuck in my mind. Actually, a series of videos now. Used to be just one. The non-MSF hand signal.
Hi, I'm a brand new rider. To the motorcyclist passing you. Hi, 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 hi. Fuck you then. I already know you want to cut me off, you stupid cunt. Go ahead, come into my lane. Seriously, bitch, I would prefer you not run me over. Oh my fucking god, woman, get over here.
Like in general, I watched your stuff, I think, like maybe 3 years ago. I can't quite recall, but you were there for a while. And before some of the people who I'm communicating to right now, before they even decided to get on their bikes, right? Quite a few motovloggers now just been riding for like what, a year and a half, 2 years. So if you don't mind me asking, if you can just tell me your story, like in how as much detail as you wish to share it, I guess.
Like when I started?
Yeah, when you started vlogging, and like what sort of motivated you.
Absolutely. Actually, there were 3 guys that I remember watching from the start. Obviously, Downshift83 was in that running. Another one was 88 Hawaii. He stopped vlogging, and his channel had gotten shut down, but he's switched over to another channel named Spencerian. But he had over, I think, 800 videos on his channel, and he's really the one that pioneered me to get into going. Like, he pretty much watched my first vlog, which was absolute shit, and gave me some pointers and went from there. And then the third person was Billy, who did his by way of motorcycle videos. And I was fortunate enough to meet 2 of those guys personally. 88 Hawaii and Bilma. So those are the three guys that I started watching from the get go. But I mean, I saw them doing it, so I wanted to give it a shot.
And just like time frame wise, this was like about 4 years ago, I'm guessing.
This would have been back in 2008. So
yeah, so like almost 2014 now. So almost like 3.5 or so. Yeah.
Well, that's more than 3.5.
Well,
you figure 08.
Oh, what am I even saying? It's been a long day, man. Yeah, so almost 6 years then. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been like I think I started vlogging maybe 4 months after I started riding. I think it was because I got my first bike on April 2nd, 2008, and I think my first vlog was in July or something like that, July or August.
Mm-hmm.
I've got the raw footage somewhere in a hard drive.
Yeah, well, I only had like maybe 25 or 26 different motor vlogs that I did, and I already started deleting the raw footage because it's getting there, you know. And
Yeah.
you only take like, I don't know, I only take like 20 to 30% of all the footage you take, and the rest just goes to waste anyways.
Yeah.
No, that's quite awesome. And what I should have done before this interview, I should have looked up and I just should have reminded myself what bike you were riding to start with. And I know you're on R1 now, but I think you had an R6 at some point.
No, actually, I was a Cowie guy for both my other bikes before the R1. I was on a 2008 ZX6R,
Mm-hmm.
and after that one got destroyed, I was on a 2008 ZX10R. So those bikes.
Oh wow! So you were on ZX10 and then you moved to R1 afterwards, sort of.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
One after the ZX10.
So you started on 600 basically, obviously.
Yep, 600 Super Sport.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go with like a 650 or anything like that. I knew I wanted the power. It definitely. I didn't want to go anything less than a Super Sport.
But I guess you had like some dirt bike experience or something like that. Not at all?
Nope, I didn't get a dirt bike until after the ZX10 actually. I bought a dirt bike when I was in Washington so I could play on two wheels while I was still in winter season.
I gotcha. No, that's cool. See how little I remember. That's actually pretty bad. But you know what? I'm happy we're still we're having this conversation because at least that would hopefully trigger some of your subscribers to actually go back and rewatch some of those videos. Like I honestly watched maybe like 50% of all the videos you've posted, but the truth is you kind of forget, obviously, and now I have, I don't know, maybe about 25 to 30 different motorcycle vloggers that I constantly come up on my channel, and I've noticed you weren't vlogging as often as I guess lately. So like the last video I watched was you sort of doing a walk around of R1, and that was a while back. But I do know also that, well, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but you were the organizer of quite a few different rides with a bunch of motor vloggers. You were riding like throughout the U.S. You were sort of there were different meetups and stuff.
Well, I made a trip from Seattle, Washington, all the way down to Florida, and I'd scheduled meetups along the way, and it was basically just a great time to meet the people that watch me and actually see them in person, and see the faces behind the computer screen from after the edits and stuff like that. So yeah, I just set up like a trip and had meetups along the way.
Yeah, it would be awesome if I actually could join any of them, but it's tough just getting anywhere south, to be honest. It's already like a huge ride. Yeah. Maybe someday, you never know. Maybe you'll have a tour of Canada and we can all meet up here in Toronto or somewhere and just cruise. God knows. Now, actually, there are plenty of places to go, obviously, but not in winter, unfortunately.
No. Not like my next next meetup that's coming up pretty soon here in the middle of winter.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The one in Tampa, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tampa's coming up pretty soon here.
Well, hopefully more people are going to jump on board, and because I'm curious. I'm genuinely curious myself. Like I want to talk to people behind the camera,
Mm-hmm.
right? I feel like, yeah, it's a one-way conversation when you're riding your bike and you want to sort of convey a certain message. You want to tell, your viewers how you feel, like what your mood is today and what's on your mind. But this is a more of a sort of an open floor for questions and for getting to know each other a little bit better. I think it's pretty cool.
Absolutely. I
So
have actually got I've no problem with Skyping, even with this being the first time, but nobody's ever really asked me to do it. So it's just like it's never really been there. Now I'm sure after this video there's going to be a lot more requests for it, but I mean, I can only do so much with the work schedule and stuff like that. Obviously, you scheduled this like a couple weeks ago, and it still took a while to get to it.
right.
I mean, yeah, nobody ever really asked me to do it. It's not like I wasn't willing to do it. It's just nobody asked.
Yeah, I thought that no one actually tried to do it before, and I've checked everywhere, and I see there's Jake is doing the Hangouts, but I think he's doing it for Rock, if I'm not mistaken, right? He's doing it with Rock representative or whatever, and then doing it for charity or just like a regular event. But that's a bit different. I don't want it to be sort of around product or sponsored by anything. I just want it to be like a one-on-one conversation. Yeah. And so let's just get back to it, because I don't want it to stray too far from sort of. I want to get to know like the man behind the camera, I guess, or the downshift that we all know and love. So tell me a little bit more. What got you into bikes in general? Like, imagine you're in 2008 and you're watching those videos. What triggered that?
Actually, I was working with a friend of mine that owned I think a 2006 ZX6R, and he at the time had nobody to ride with. And I really had no other modes of transportation at the time, so I just decided to buy a motorcycle, and it flourished from there. So I just started riding back. I mean, I'd always had a motorcycle when I was a kid, and actually, I was trying to get one when I was in high school. It was a Honda Hurricane. It was a neighbor's of mine that I ended up wrecking a light pole. By chance, it was a wheelie that I wheelied into the light pole. Who would have thought that I'd wheelie longer distances than into light poles now? It took me like I think another 6 years before I ended up picking up a motorcycle of my own, because I mean after that incident it pretty much scared me. So
Yeah. No, I see your point. Yeah. Like and when I was talking to, I asked the same question like when I was talking to Tasty Ham Sandwich guy from Australia. He's really cool, and he made actually a really good point. He said, I told him that I've started on 125 and I had a 250, and now I'm on 500, and the reason why I'm switching bikes, well, number one, I wanted to start slow, and it's my own decision, and no one forced me,
right.
and also I mainly commute. Like, I don't necessarily need a bigger bike than a 500 that I have right now. Maybe, well, if I had the money, I probably would buy something bigger. But insurance-wise, in Ontario, it's a killer here, and it's just I don't feel a need just yet. But his point is really good. He said, like, it depends really. Like, a lot of people ask, what's the best starter bike? And no one is really asking the question, where the heck are you? Right? If you're in U.S., where there are a bunch of highways, connecting the country, and chances are you'll be commuting on highway quite a lot. That answer can be very different from if you are in, somewhere in Asia, or or maybe in London, or or somewhere in Europe where you can't really get to highways, and you're sort of stuck with small streets where you need, a nimble motorcycle.
Very true.
So that's kind of cool. So you started on ZX6, and then you had it for like what, a couple of years?
I had it for a couple of years. I wrecked on it so many times, and it finally got totaled out after I got hit by an old man. in a Crown Vic.
Oh, wow.
Then I switched up to the ZX10.
You got rear-ended, or?
No, I actually got hit head on.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish that was on film, but yeah, I got hit head on. It was probably about like 2 blocks away from my house at the time. And he was just on the wrong side of the road, wasn't paying attention, and I had nowhere to go. I had cars on my right and cars on the left, and he was on my side of the road and just hit me head on. Nowhere to go.
Oh, wow. Yeah, well, I did not have, I'm just going to knock on wood. So far, I didn't have that kind of experience, and I'm trying to obviously avoid it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, something definitely to be aware of. And, you know, if you get into on motorcycle, you should not, you should always be aware that this may happen, you know, at any point.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you recommend to someone who watches your videos, let's say, and they really want to get on the bike? What would you tell them to do first, or how would you sort of approach?
Don't ride like I do. Don't ride like I do. It takes a lot of risks to get where I'm at right now. But I would definitely say take the MSF course to be able to at least teach you the basics. That'll be a lot of information right there.
Right. What it did for me, the MSF course here in Canada, what it did for me at least, I actually didn't know whether I wanted to ride a bike or not. And I did it because my brother was riding for a couple of years already in Moscow. So I tried it out and I liked it. Like I only knew when I tried it during the MSF course. I was riding a bicycle. You can't really tell if you're gonna like riding a motorcycle when you're riding a bicycle. But I actually don't know anyone who tried it and said, "Oh no, it's not for me." I've met a few people who tried it and bought bikes that were a bit too powerful for them, and they thought, okay, this is all or nothing business, which is not true.
Right.
But they just, you know, so you have to sort of, I guess, be aware of your skill level, and you know, your bike is not your last bike.
Absolutely.
Actually, as of late, now that we talk about bikes, and I was looking at the new Yamaha Triple, the what is it, ZF9, I think it's called.
I'm really following it. I know they're dropping down a cylinder.
Yeah, the ZX8 or ZF8 was the previous year's bike, and then they increased the displacement, and they now have like a triple 3-cylinder. I'm not sure. I think it's inline 3-cylinder, but it's very torquey, and it looks like a Street Fighter sort of styling.
Yeah, like a naked bike.
Well, and a good thing about that, like I'm always looking at bikes and I'm thinking about insurance. That's just how it is in Ontario. You get on 600, like I would literally pay 2.5 for what I'm paying right now. I'm paying $60 a month. If I get on the 600, I'll be paying around 180, and I get on the leader bike, I'd be paying well into like close to $300 a month, which I think is ridiculous for motorcycle insurance. Yeah. Well, how is insurance like where you are right now? Is insurance sort of even a...
Paying about $200 a month for the truck and the bike that I have, so it's not. I mean, it's not too bad, but I mean, it depends on your driving record, how old you are, and all that other stuff. So
yeah, of course. But it's not too bad. I think it's, yeah, the certain parts, I guess, and provinces and states, I guess, where the insurance differs depending on where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the secret is don't own a property outside of Ontario. You'll be fine.
Exactly.
Jesus. So let me ask you this: when are you planning to? Are you actually planning to sort of get back to your regular, like a weekly video, schedule, or are you sort of at the point in your life where you're thinking, okay, well, I've done so much for the community so far, and I'm gonna sort of, give as much as I can, but there's time for different things that I need to dedicate.
Well, I mean, I think I've only done like a scheduled vlogging for a little while. I mean, people don't realize when they do that, it takes a lot out of you. It takes so much like time to actually sit down, film, think of a topic that you're actually going to record, and sit down, edit, and do all that other stuff. So, I mean, what I've been doing for like the past couple of years is just whenever I come up with something, just post it. And if I don't come up with anything, it's not there. So I mean, if people are expecting me to put something out, then I guess I would have to. But if they're not expecting me to post anything, then every time that I do post something, it's almost a treat. You know what I mean? It's like a surprise whenever something gets posted. So I mean, that's kind of like where I'm at. I don't think I'll ever post like on a regular, I guess you could say.
Right. And yeah, I guess that's something I've learned myself. I've started with gaming videos, and well, number one, actually, I've learned that I don't enjoy gaming as much as I thought I did. Like in order to post stuff on a regular basis, and I really don't have much time for that. So instead, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do what I like, and I'll just do motorcycle vlogs, and I'll try to convey like certain thoughts I have in my head like during those times, and it seems to be working out pretty well actually. It's funny how a lot of guys I have met while I was trying to open this gaming channel. This channel that I'm going to post it on was meant to be a gaming channel in general, and then it went south very quickly because it wasn't because of a lack of views. It was just because I felt like, okay, you know what, I'm forcing myself and to dedicate my time to something I'm not enjoying in general. I do like to play games. I just don't want it to be like a routine for me. I can't do it like on daily basis or even weekly basis. If I don't have time, I don't have time. That's pretty much it. And I think the good stuff only comes out when you dedicate to yourself and you sort of think it through before you actually start, doing it, I guess. Exactly. Think before you do it. Yeah, I started getting a little bit more into like the After Effects, and it's quite interesting. I don't know if you've actually I know your videos are color corrected, like some of them at least are.
Oh.
No? Okay. Well, then you have a really good camera.
Yeah, I never got fully into the color correction. I know there are people that do it, and it makes your video like pop, I guess you could say, but it just seems like a little bit more extra work that I don't want to have to put into it. I've already put in the work of going out and filming and going out and doing something that, I mean, it's just like, editing's fun, but I don't want to spend 4 hours in front of a computer when I could be doing something else.
Yeah, I gotcha. Yeah, and especially like if this is not something you want to be doing. If you have some better.
Then no, yeah. This isn't my breadwinning job. I do work, and it's not this.
Right, I gotcha. What are you planning for next year? Like, are you planning any tours and stuff for next year?
I'd like to. I'd like to. I want to see if I can go up north from here, but we'll see how that goes. Because I mean, obviously, finances is going to play a major role, and I'm trying. I'm working at it, but I want to bring in another motorcycle. So this one's going to cost me a lot of money. So that's where a lot of my funds are going to be going to, is trying to get another bike in the garage.
Mm-hmm. Are you going to be? You thinking about racing, or are you just thinking about sort of pleasure?
No, it's definitely pleasure, but it's a different breed of motorcycle. So we'll see how that goes. It's not going to be something that you would normally see, or you would even think to see me on.
Interesting. Well, that's exciting. Okay, well, definitely people are going to be looking forward now.
Yeah.
And checking the updates from your channel for sure. Well, awesome. I don't actually even know what else to talk about. I wanted to ask a lot of questions, obviously, but it's the end of the day, and I'm burnt out, man.
No worries at all.
You know what? Let's just cut it here for now. We've been on for about 25 minutes now, but it's been a tremendous pleasure, and I really appreciate your time, man.
Absolutely.
If this goes well, if people like this format, maybe we can do this, once more.
Absolutely.
whenever you have the time.
Get some questions brought in that somebody wants to ask or whatever, and we'll
Exactly.
do a video.
I'm just thinking the same, actually, along the same lines. If people are interested, we can do another one-on-one, and I'll ask questions that people will ask, essentially, because obviously there are people who, you know, they thought of things I didn't think of. That's for sure.
Gladly.
All right, thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.
Absolutely, bro.
Thanks a lot.